Sponsored by Fletcher's Flies. And by Salt Rights. Aim, click, share. Good morning, everyone. This is Tanaka of Wish4Fish. This episode, I am going to be giving you tips on how to be more successful on the water. And the first tip I can give you is before you even get on the water, and that's do your research. Nowadays, you have so many resources. There's online, there's books, there's, and online you have certain websites, certain, forums, and you could even download apps. There's a lot of good series of books, trout streams. There's, I don't know actually if it's a series, but it says like trout streams of. I have two, which is trout streams of Minnesota and Wisconsin. That's because I was living in Minnesota. I also have trout streams of Mid-Atlantic, and that is New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Besides doing your research, obviously, about maybe what you'd be using or, the particular body of water that you're going to be on, there's a lot of tips that you can grab from the internet. For instance, YouTube. YouTube is a fantastic way to grab tips. For instance, you're probably grabbing some right now. But also, you can do podcasts. I've been listening to, matter of fact, I've literally listened to the entire Orvis podcast, Orvis by Tom Rosenbauer, and I would check that out for sure. Matter of fact, when I drove from Minnesota to New Jersey, I literally listened to it for 23 hours straight. He pretty much talks about everything on there, from fly tying tips to, his favorite flies. You could pretty much check the title, it'll say, like, for instance, winter fly fishing tips. I would definitely just absorb everything you possibly can. For me, it's like ridiculous. I'll go home and watch YouTube channels. I will listen to the podcast. Matter of fact, I'm just going to prove to you right here. Look, I have it on right now, the Orvis podcast. There you go. You can never know too much information. And with fly fishing, it's never, the learning never stops. Matter of fact, last time I went out, I literally learned so much about my nymphing techniques. What I was doing is I was drifting it with an indicator that it was long enough that it was hitting the bottom. I was casting it upstream, letting it drift down, and when I was hitting bottom, I would kind of, measure the distance it took for my fly to actually get to the bottom. So then I would, wherever I was targeting the trout, I could then just basically cast it upstream and allow the fly to get to the depth that I wanted it to in that particular part of the river. And then obviously I was adjusting my indicator that way. And that's another thing about, indicator. I have tried all kinds of indicators, First I was using the thingamabobber, and I was using a New Zealand indicator, and now I'm just using these Orvis tabs. I don't know what the name is. Matter of fact, I'll put a description of what they are in the box below. The Orvis tabs are awesome. They're just quick, disposable. Slap them on, slap them off. They don't kick your line, and they're cheap, so you could just slap one on. Doesn't work out for the depth, instead of adjusting, you just rip it off and slap on another one. Anyway, those are some quick tips that you could do before you get on the water, and I'll see you guys on the water. Okay, so first tip I'm going to give you is to make sure you do a checklist before you leave the car, because I forgot my polarized glasses and I had to go all the way back. But I guess the second tip on the water I'm going to give you is to do a survey of the water. Check everything out first before you go ahead and plop in the water. I know the first thing you're going to want to do is literally just throw in right where your car's parked. That's probably the worst thing you could do. But granted, I've caught plenty of fish in pools that are right next to the parking lot, but That's also the most heavily fished place. So, you know, they've seen about everything thrown at them. It's got the most high traffic. So, you know, take a little walk. I took quite a long walk, that's why it sucked that I forgot my glasses. And matter of fact, they're steaming up on me. I'm sweating. Let's survey the water and turn a couple rocks over. You know, luckily I was here the other week, last week actually, and did this already, and we found a lot of olive pupa and also some stoneflies. Also, if you go on some websites, it said that the stonefly hatch was going on right now, small stonefly, and also you could use an olive caddis pattern. This little guy right here by Fletcher's Flies. It's a great little, it kind of looks very stonefly-esque, but also has that olive pattern. Looks kind of emergery. Also, I'm using a duo setup, double nymph, and I'm going to be using this guy, which is like kind of like a super pupa. Also, great little fly. I found a good place here. It's right after a little riffle. It's a nice little pool right here. I bet you it's holding some trout. I'm gonna give this a go. Oh yeah. I see trout taking already. Well, I got one. That was quick. Second cast. And they hit the super pupa. Alright, so quick take with the super pupa in this pool. Okay, come on. That's a nice little bow. Good 14 inches at least. Alright. Come on, buddy. Alright. Oh. He just totally tried to shake me. Let me get his head facing this way so I could use the current against him. I don't want to disturb that pull too much. I gotta love the second cast. Alright. Okay, I'm using a 6X leader with a 7X dropper from a tippet. Alright, here we go. He's getting knackered out a little bit. So, alright, oh yeah, that's a beaut. Get her in here safely. Oh, that wasn't so safely. Ooh, there's a bruiser in there. Okay, I could see a pretty nice fish in there. Alright, there seem to be taken near the top, and they must be hitting the emergers of some sort. Okay. Oh yeah, she sees my purpleness and just darts out. I get my net. Okay, here we go. She's coming in. She's coming in. Oh. Okay. Alright, come here. You're about... Oh yeah. Alright. 15.5-inch rainbow. Oh yeah, what a hog. What a fish. Alright. That's a good one, right over him. a little smaller. Say about 14 maybe. Gotcha. Nice fish again. Just a little guy though. Yeah, nice fish. Nice fish. This guy right here, it's Fletcher's Flies. It's one of his, I think it's a CDC maybe, rabbit's hair, or a merger maybe. I'm not sure exactly what this one's called, but I'll have the exact name and in the description box. I see him hitting subsurface. I'm gonna try this guy. Oh yeah, hooked up another one. Looks like I got this on a, nope, same one. Super pupa. Oh yeah. Hooked up a nice one again. This bad boy. There we go. And there she goes. Alright, we got Chris here. He just caught his first trout. Hooked him up with some good info and bam, he hooked him up with his first trout right here. That might be a sucker.
Hey, I'm happy with anything.
Yeah, it's a sucker. You caught a sucker.
Thank you.
Alright, well he caught his first fish on a fly. First of many. Yeah, nice. Okay, number 4 here. Nice trout. What a beautiful rainbow here. And it looks like he's got some damage. He got hit by a herring or something. It's beautiful. It's almost got like an orange tint to it. Alright, so we got Chris hooked up on his first rainbow. He caught himself his first fish on a fly just a second ago with the sucker, and now he's got his first trout. You could put more pressure on him than that. Definitely don't want to put too little. Yeah, you got to jump. Nice. Yes. Yes. Nice. First rainbow. And I would also put the net in the water, because like exposure to the air is not very good for trout. Oh look, he took the first one. Alright, here we go. Got him. Whoa, 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 whoa. Woo! Okay. Oh man, he's he's scaring the trout right out of this hole. I can see him now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. All right. It's a good one. It's a good 16 at least. Spider though. Woo! Woo! Oh, don't. No! She got off. Ah. Damn it. Ah. Man. Ah. That stinks. Oh. Come on. God, he is like trying to go the opposite direction. Woo! Yeah, he's fighting the other direction like the entire time. I think I got this on a Prince, which is a new one for this river, or creek. I haven't caught one on a Prince yet. Good God. So, another tip I could give you, and it's not even fishing related at all, it's be courteous to your other fishermen. There's a couple times today where I had people just come right all up in my spot, man. Right in the middle of when I'm fishing. Oh, look at this. Gotta love running up on stuff like this in the wild. So anyway, be courteous to your other fishermen. You know, I mean, treat other fishermen right and they're gonna treat you right, you know? Literally, I had these two guys, these two numbskulls that started fishing right across from me. Like literally, I could have like stuck my rod out and hit him. And I was like, you're just gonna come in here and just dump in my hole like that, huh? And they were like, I didn't know you owned this river. I didn't know you owned this river. I was like, well, I don't, but you don't think that's messed up, man? Nope. I mean, it's amazing to me. And the best part is he copped an attitude. I mean, seriously? It's just ridiculous. So the best part is there was three of them. One guy was courteous enough not to dump in my hole like that, but the other two just plopped on in. I didn't know you owned this river. Jesus. There's people out there, man. I just don't get it. Speaking of courteous to my fellow fishermen, today I was fishing this magnificent hole, as you saw. And, you know, I could tell this guy was kind of waiting to see if he could get in the hole. Actually, that guy's Christopher, as you've seen on the video. And, you know, I was like, hey, you know, you're more than welcome to fish this hole with me. And he was like, oh no, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, seriously, come on ahead, you know, fish this hole with me. And I was like, I don't mind. He was like, oh, I've only been fishing a couple times, 4 times actually, he said, and he hasn't caught anything. So I had the pleasure of giving up my hole to Chris, who's never caught a trout, and I decided, to pay it forward. I was like, you know what, I'm going to give you my hole. And they gave him awful advice. Somebody gave him advice of having 3X in this tiny little creek. I was like, look, man, I use 6X and 7X, which is what I was using today. So I went ahead and gave him a leader, 6X leader. Actually, it was a 7X leader, but that was used up a little bit, so I'd probably say it was a 6X leader. Gave him some of my tippet, and bam, he hooked 2 fish, as you saw in the video. And that was a great feeling, man. So I gave up my hole for a rookie fisherman that had the time of his life. I mean, he was more than grateful. And now I guarantee, after he, acquires the skills to pay the bills, he's going to pay it forward. He's going to be, teach some other guy the tricks of the trade and give up his hole one day. And that's what it's all about. That's the best tip I could give you, I mean, granted, can't give all your secrets away, but, it's good to teach fellow fly fishermen, things that you know. I mean, granted, there's people out there with the philosophy, oh, I worked hard for this knowledge, I paid my dues and spent a lot of hours, and spent a lot of money. Sure you have. So, Christopher, I'm glad that you caught your first trout today. I would have been able to do a lot more tips today, but my hands are like crab claws because it's so freaking cold. And I was trying to nail it and get my own thing going today, which I did. I cooked a lot of fish. I had my first break off today. First one I've ever broken off. And the funny thing is I was listening to the podcast today, and they were saying, and I think it was a jinx, because they were saying, it's nothing worse than missing the fish on a poorly tied knot. And sure enough, my knot failed on me today for the first time. So, yeah, it was pretty depressing, especially because it was a monster. I mean, it was just... So, I hope some of these tips will help you catch some fish in the future. And please, leave a comment, if you use some of my tips and caught fish ever, paste it on my Facebook wall or paste it in my YouTube comments. Today, my intentions were to come out and, give all the tips that I could, but then it kind of took a turn to helping out Christopher catch his first trout. And that was what it was all about today. Another tip that I could give you is never be afraid to ask somebody on the water. Granted, you're gonna have somebody that's gonna be like not wanting to tell your secrets, but you're gonna run into some people that are really gonna be able to help you. For instance, I gave him a leader, I gave him a fly, I gave him a couple flies. I also told him, some websites to go check out. I also told him what I do. I read books, I do the podcast. I got his information. I hooked him up on Facebook, so then I could send him some info, some good other streams. I also turned him on to TU. Hopefully he could go on to some TU outings, not only give back to the river by hopefully, doing some conservation, but I'm sure he could network with the TU people just like, I have. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode.